would say that I think that these people need to continue to say this because, quite frankly, they need to keep up the grift. However, the problem with that is that given these people's track records or recent track records, yeah, I don't think it's a grift, but let's talk about it anyways.
They're going to keep with Joe Biden. I know that all the Democrats say, well, they have to because of this and that. Logistically, they have to keep with him. You can't keep along with somebody who in the next several months is going to go downhill even more steeply. This is not going to be a linear decline. It is going to accelerate. Anybody who's watched an elderly person decline this way knows it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I think there needs to be more of a discussion about just how evil First Lady Jill Biden is, that she is standing by as her husband is going through this. This is truly evil. Why she's not pulling him aside and saying enough's enough just shows that she is so hungry for power, she's willing to embarrass and let her husband embarrass himself that way. Shame on her.
Yeah, Francesca, I got to say, I agree with that. I think I've interviewed.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
We have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game.
His mental acuity is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
There's not a problem.
He was sharp. He was sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
The president is sharp, and he is
the country and of the base, and he failed to do that. And I think there's a lot of people who are going to want to see him consider taking a different course now.
I figured that I would let that one run just a little bit longer, especially given the fact that I've been saying for a while. And by the way, I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. Joe Biden will be the Democratic Party nominee in 2024. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now the biggest reason why. Before I tell you, I just want to kind of parallel something really quick. The day is June the 28th. That would be Friday morning. I got a phone call back on Monday telling me about my health situation. And if you guys did not see this video that I posted earlier on Monday, which, by the way, will fill you in on why I was out, then you would probably know that I had surgery on Friday morning. Thursday night, you had the debate, and obviously we're still talking about it, and obviously people are still throwing their takes out there from the likes of Tim Pool to Tommy Lahren, who, by the way, has been running her mouth for a long time about this, and how it is that they're going to replace Joe Biden with Gavin Newsom, even though that's probably not going to happen, and I've explained on several occasions why that would not happen, but once again, we got all the smoke. But why in the world did I bring up the day of June the 28th. I'm not bringing it up because of the surgery, even though it's obvious that it did, of course, happen. Kind of a coincidence, especially if I went to bed, like I actually went to sleep on June the 29th in my hospital bed. And the last thing I saw was Joe Biden will be the Democratic Party nominee, according to their camp, according to the Biden campaign. And, of course, there's a lot of things coming out about the Biden family blaming Biden's advisors. Now, why in the world did I bring up June 27th? Why in the world did I bring up June 28th? Well, the reason why I brought it up is because that is the deadline for the states of Nevada and the deadline for the state of Wisconsin to remove the Democratic Party nominee or change the Democratic Party nominee at the last second. What I'm saying to you is that they are stuck with him, and more deadlines are on the way, and the Democratic National Convention is not going to be until the month of August. And even though Obama and everybody else has said that Joe Biden should step down, I think that the immunity or the presidential immunity ruling that came out on Monday afternoon from the Supreme Court is kind of an indication that nobody is going to be going in there and saving Joe Biden. I think that Joe Biden is about to be, let's just say, sacrificed. But we got a lot to get to. Let's start with our old pal Tim Pool.
That the decision has already been made. They just don't know how to spin it yet. Might I offer a suggestion? Joe Biden stumbles on stage suffering a medical issue and Gavin Newsom runs out to save him. Just saying. Now, I'm going to go ahead and believe that, yes, Biden's out. I really do think so. Bill O'Reilly's got 2 tweets about it. I'm going to need a little bit more confirmation to say definitively, but the reason why I'm leaning towards it's likely.
Now, before I really get deep and go after Tim or talk about his take, I want to go ahead and say this right now. This is going to be kind of like two takes, okay? I'm trying to shorten the videos down to about 15 minutes, less than 20 minutes per video, rather than giving you guys one full 30-minute video, unless it's like a video essay or something like that. And given my recent situation and given what's going on, obviously I got to take it easy to a certain degree. I mean, I don't want to pop my carotid artery. I mean, they just operated on it. But still, at the same time, though, this does need to be discussed. So how did this entire situation get started? Well, it got started with a couple of tweets from Bill O'Reilly. And, of course, it also was, let's just say that there was another tweet that came out from Tucker Carlson, basically explaining how it was that Jill Biden is actually the one running the Biden campaign, which, of course, we're finding out more and more information that actually Hunter Biden has got a lot more influence than you might would think. And, of course, Bill O'Reilly basically put out there that Joe Biden was going to be replaced, and that the Biden campaign did not know how to spin it. However, there's a problem. Number one, Bill O'Reilly has not been relevant for a while, even though the other night he was correct, or at least I thought he was correct when it came to the actual debate moderation itself. He said that it came out, anonymous sources had stated that CNN was told not to let their liberal bias get in the way of the actual debate, even though they did, in fact, let it get in the way a couple of times. But still, at the same time, though, that was the actual report that CNN was basically told not to let their liberal bias get in the way of the debate. Maybe the reason why is so that way they could let Joe fall apart, maybe, fall on his face, and they come back in and say, look, we got to replace him with what's-his-face or Kamala Harris. However, the problem is I'm showing you guys some polling information that's been released since the actual debate. It's exactly what I've said before. The Democrats don't have a candidate that can actually defeat Donald Trump. From Whitmer to Buttigieg to Harris, they all get destroyed. And something else, too, to go on top of this, going back to Tomi Lahren, of course, how loud she is, Gavin Newsom's got absolutely no chance in hell at defeating Donald Trump. They don't have an actual replacement that can actually defeat him. So, in a lot of ways, what Chris Coons says here is actually true.
Two things. Is the strongest, most accomplished president we've had in my lifetime.
Not the question.
That he's been counted out over and over and over. And he can go to the stage and say, here's my record. I, in my speech at the inauguration, said I would bring Congress together and we would address infrastructure and manufacturing, and we would reduce prescription drug prices, and we would invest in restoring our competitiveness as a country, and I would bring us out of the pandemic, and I would address the challenges that I inherited from Donald Trump, and he's done a magnificent job.
That right there is cope and seethe, especially given the fact that the state of New Hampshire just released a poll today showing Trump actually up. That's not a good sign in the month of June. Of course, it's obviously going to be July the 2nd, the time this video is released. But right now, at this moment in time, a lot of the polling data that we are getting is in blue states, not purple states, which is unreal. That's also a bad sign of things to come, especially if you're a Democrat. If you're starting to get polled in blue states and the non-incumbent is now within the margin of error in your polling, that's not a good sign. If anything, you're looking at 2008 levels of possible landslide here, meaning that what happened in 2008 could in fact happen this time around in 2024, except the shoe will be on the other foot. But back to the beanie.
The case, although what that probability may be, I don't know. It has to do with the New York Times pre-writing, or at least pre-preparing, an article calling for Joe Biden to quit and then only publishing it after the debate was over. Democrats behind the scenes knew full well that Joe Biden is gone. According to a report from Tucker Carlson, it is Jill Biden that is cloistering Joe away from everybody, running everything, pulling the strings, and making sure Joe does not step down. But when you watch these videos from the debate, there is nothing you can do anymore. Alex Jones has this video where after the debate, Donald Trump waves and just casually walks off the stage, just goes around the corner and goes backstage. Joe Biden, holding Jill's hand, struggles to walk zombie mode, can't bend his legs, and sidesteps to walk down a single step. You watch this film and you're like, this guy's zombie hands, he's cornholio, he is gone.
He's not lying. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, coming out saying that the person who's actually guiding this presidential campaign is Jill Biden. Now, If Joe Biden is guiding this campaign, of course, there was also this article or this cover that came out from Vogue magazine with her on the front, basically saying that we will decide our political future. Don't worry, we will talk more about that in the follow-up video, because obviously our friend, our pal Junior, has decided to have a bit of a meltdown, which we'll discuss here in a second. Yeah, even if he can see the writing on the wall, chances are you're probably going to lose. The point is this right here. The Biden team at this moment in time cannot afford to remove Joe from the actual ballot. They're not going to allow this to happen. And a lot of that is because, well, Joe's corrupt businesses, Joe's brother, Joe's family, they all rely upon him for actual money. Now, like I said, we'll talk more about that in the next video, especially given the fact that the one voice who's pushing Joe to actually stay in the race the most is Hunter Biden. But as I said before, the biggest reason why it is they can't remove Joe Biden is because of deadlines. You see, you've got the state of Nevada, you got the state of Wisconsin, June the 28th. That was the last day that you had to be able to remove the Democratic Party nominee. By the way, it's not the only state that has a deadline like this. There are other states at this moment in time that have deadlines basically saying, look, if you're going to remove Joe, you need to do it within the next few days. The problem is this right here. You're going to end up with an electoral college map where Joe Biden may be on the ballot in a state like, say, Michigan, but yet at the same time, though, not on the ballot in a state like, say, Minnesota, or a state like, say, Wisconsin, where Joe could possibly lose both of them. Basically, what I'm saying to you guys as I clean my glasses here is that Joe Biden could very, very well be screwed at this moment in time, and in many different ways than one. However, the thing about his family, that's the one that really interests me the most. So they really and truly put everything they had into this guy's career. They put everything into this guy's life, meaning that they put everything. Everybody is attached to Joe at the coattails. And these people obviously chose to sacrifice him on the altar of cash and money. Doesn't seem to me like a good bunch of people, if you ask me. The only thing that far-left radicals can do at this moment in time is scream and holler and scream at the television you guys are going to see now.
Like he's barely surviving. I don't mean the debate, I mean life. And so there's no person that has a single brain cell left in their head who thinks that Joe Biden is the best candidate to take on Donald Trump. You would have to be even crazier than Donald Trump to think that. This thing is over. I'll guarantee you this. I would bet show me a Democratic politician and I will bet them any amount of money that Joe Biden's going to lose this election if he's the candidate. It's a guaranteed loss. You're telling me this is the most important election of our lifetimes? You're telling me that democracy's on the line? And you're going to put on a guy who can't even talk.
I mean, look, I hate to say this, but at least Jink is cognizant enough to understand that this particular race, or at least this particular guy, who's the current president of the United States or current occupant, whom, by the way, we just found out is only cognizant from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He can at least see that this guy right here is not with it and this guy cannot run the country. Now, I'm not saying this as a Trump voter. I'm not saying this as a conservative. I'm not saying this as a Trump supporter. I'm saying this as a sane, rational human being that can obviously see that this guy right here who craps his pants should not be the president of the United States. We told these people this back in 2020. And of course, these people are coping and they're seething and they're panicking about the fact that they realize that the orange guy will more than likely get elected again. And of course, they've already started spinning the narrative about Trump's immunity and how it is the Supreme Court gave him immunity, even though we told you a while back that you needed to impeach a president and convict him and all that type of stuff there, get an actual conviction. And of course, they never really did that. They just impeached him and he got off both times in order to actually be able to take away a president's immunity and actually lock him up. But of course, they will not tell you that one of Trump's justices, Amy Coney Barrett, who has shown herself not to be that good of a Supreme Court justice, actually sided with the liberals in this case. I just figured I would point that out so that way people understand that it wasn't just some straight up 6-3 ruling. This was a case that obviously went down to the wire, but as you guys can obviously see, people were obviously panicked, and of course there are some out there who are obviously coping with the fact that, Joe, he's on his way out.
Will return to the White House late today. This is the first family reportedly is telling him to keep fighting, keep running as they huddle at Camp David, even privately criticizing top advisors as Democrats rally to the president's defense.
One debate does not define a person's record or the kind of person or the situation.
The only Democrat who's ever beaten Donald Trump is Joe Biden. He is our candidate for November, and he has the best shot to beat him.
Joe Biden's decision to go forward is a decision that we will all embrace.
What we see in all the data that has emerged since Thursday is the fundamental head-to-head hasn't shifted.
I'll let that Fox News bit play for a little while longer. And the reason why I let that Fox News bit play for about 40 seconds is that way you guys can see the reason why they're coping at this moment in time, or they're downplaying this, is because Joe's not going to be removed. Let's go ahead and go through this one more time. You guys heard me say at the very, very beginning of the video that Joe Biden would not be removed, number one, because a lot of these states' deadlines or ballot deadlines are already beginning to pass. He holds 90% of the Democratic Party's delegates. The Democratic Party itself, basically, I'm not going to say the R word. What I'm going to say is that they fixed the primary around Joe Biden so that way they could not get another challenger, so that way Joe Biden could be the person. Makes you wonder who the hell set that up. Also, to go on top of this, they actually did not want, or Barack Obama did not want Joe Biden to be the nominee to begin with back in 2019. He actually wanted Elizabeth Warren. I'd advise you guys to listen to the book Lucky. You probably can find on Amazon Audible, and you guys will begin to see the whole story there, that Biden was not the person that Obama wanted to be the leader of the ticket. He wanted Elizabeth Warren. He did not trust Biden, hence the phrase, don't underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. The fact of the matter is this right here. This right here is the creation of the Democratic Party at this moment in time. They created this mess, and obviously they have, let's just go ahead and say, they've gotten messed up by the mess that they created. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that these people were able to pull some legal BS, some legal mumbo-jumbo or whatever, to actually replace Biden. I'm here to tell you right now that that more than likely will not happen. First of all, if you choose to go with Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, she's unelectable for a multitude of reasons, not to mention you would need her in 2028. Michelle Obama is living the multi-millionaire, billionaire's life at this moment in time in Martha's Vineyard. She's not getting up off her fat rear to come out here and actually save the party. And by the way, it was recently reported that she did not like the way that the Bidens treated Beau Biden's ex-wife. Just going to go ahead and put that out there now. To go on top of that, you don't have a candidate beyond that. Pete Buttigieg is not electable. As a matter of fact, many people, when they think about Pete Buttigieg, they're going to think about, what was it? Oh, yeah, that's right. They're going to be thinking about the shortages that happened right after Biden got into office. The fact of the matter is that the Democratic Party is kind of screwed. They rode with Biden, and they're about to die with Biden. So nothing that Tommy Lahren says, nothing that Tim Pool says, nothing that anybody out there from Bill O'Reilly to Cenk Uygur says is going to change anything. Joe Biden is their guy. And like I said before, it's pretty daggone obvious that when you look at the ballot deadline dates, they're not going to be able to replace this guy. But what does that mean for the country? What does that mean for the rest of the year? Well, what you're going to be seeing the rest of the year is an extremely negative presidential campaign. Biden can't really run on anything. 15 million jobs he claims he created, even though a lot of those jobs are bounce-back jobs, like the former president said the other night during the debate. People who just simply went right back to work during COVID. And don't worry, there's going to be a take on Wednesday that I'm going to be breaking down much, much further, because we got this bad faith actor on the platform that claims to be an absolute centrist when we all know he's really just not allowed to say anything because the state tells him when to actually speak. Don't worry, we'll get to that on Wednesday. But you can't really claim that. You can also can't really sit here and say that the border crisis is the Republicans' fault, because all you got to do is just sign an executive order to close the border. Anything and everything that's going wrong at this moment in time that people can actually see and are actually living with, this right here is crap that Joe Biden could have fixed, but yet he chose not to fix. Fact of the matter is this right here. They can't replace it. All right? They dug themselves a hole. They set a trap for the former president with all the court cases, and guess who the hell fell in the trap? They fell in the trap. It's damn near biblical if you ask me. But you guys tell me what you think in the comments section. Make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section. I do want to hear what you guys have got to say about this. The follow-up video tomorrow will probably be on the actual family stuff, and I'm going to be responding to a take that was put out by the Uygur guy, because I think it's kind of hilarious how it is that these people put somebody in office that is being advised by a current crackhead. But we'll discuss that in the follow-up video tomorrow. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.